Hey there, and welcome back to Tim Talks Cooking. Today we are talking, get this, we are talking pork rind pizza crust. There's my oven beeping. It's just preheated to 425 degrees. You're going to want to do that because this is a really delicious pizza crust, and I think you're going to like it. Let's get started. Here's what you'll need to make this delicious pizza crust. Starts off with 8 ounces of softened, full-fat cream cheese. You're also going to want 4 large eggs, 3/4 of a cup or 6 ounces of shredded mozzarella cheese. You should buy it in a block and shred it yourself. That way you can make sure it doesn't have any added ingredients in it like potato starch, which is sometimes used to keep the shreds separate. This is a 5-ounce bag of pork rinds, 1/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese, and some flavorings here. We've got 1½ teaspoons each of Italian seasoning and garlic powder. To make this recipe, we need our pork rinds to be crushed, and there are a couple of ways we can do that. We'll just simply crush them with our hands. And we want to make sure that we get them into a pretty fine crumb, though. We're going to use these like breadcrumbs. We can also use, for example, a rolling pin to roll over them, and this is going to crunch them up more evenly. You could put them in a blender or your food processor. Lots of ways to get these pork rind crumbs. My 5-ounce bag of pork rinds yields a good 2 or 3 cups of crushed pork rinds here, or what's called pork panko. I'm going to use a cup of these for this recipe and reserve the rest for some other recipe that I would have used breadcrumbs in a high-carb version. Next, we're going to simply combine all of our ingredients. There's our cup of pork panko with our cream cheese, the mozzarella, our eggs. I'm going to give them a nice beating first. We want them to incorporate as easily as possible. That in there. Use the spatula to get all of it out of there, of course. Parmesan cheese. And our flavorings, the garlic powder and the Italian seasonings. Now I'm just going to use a fork to mix this together. Now here's what we end up with. We end up with kind of a loose mixture here. It's not really a dough, in my opinion. And let me show you what we're going to do with that. We're going to take our pizza pan. You can use any shape of pizza pan you like and line it with parchment paper. And I'm just going to transfer this onto there. There we go. I'm going to use my spatula to make it into a nice round shape. In this case, you can see that it is actually going to fill up this entire pizza pan, so I'm just going to smooth this out until we have a pretty even layer. And here we go. This is ready to go into our 425 degree oven for 20 minutes, and you'll see what it's like when it comes out. This is supposed to be one of the best pizza crusts out there. It's been 20 minutes now, and I'm going to bring this out of the oven. Have a look at that gorgeous beast. Check this out. Not bad, right? Here, we're going to cool this on a wire rack for 10 minutes before we top it with anything. We're going to look at our crust. Here it is. We're just going to turn it over. It's nice and brown on this side. Right now, it feels kind of spongy. You know, there's a certain amount of egg in here, a lot of cheese, and of course the pork rinds to structure it. Now, we're going to top it. Of course, we're going to start off with some of my sugar-free keto pizza sauce. I'll put a link to this up on the screen. It's actually my very first recipe video that I did back in August of 2018. Anyway, I'm just going to spread that out. In a pretty even layer, just like that. I'm also going to use a few other toppings here. I've got some roasted vegetables here. These are mushrooms, a little eggplant, some red bell pepper. I'm going to sprinkle that around. These roasted vegetables, and I'll put a link to that video on the screen here as well. They're so great to have around for when you're making a pizza or something. Again, if you don't have eggplant, you can use any toppings you have here. I'm just using what I've got on hand, but this is a really great to add some veg, some really delicious veg to a dish that's already really pretty darn good. On top of that, I'm also going to add some fresh bell pepper, which I happen to have in the fridge. Sprinkle that around. You can see I've got some orange and some green here. Use up that veg. Next, we've got some freshly grated mozzarella cheese. Just going to spread that around. Remember that if you buy already shredded cheese, you want to read the label and make sure it doesn't contain any anti-caking agents that have carbs in them, like cornstarch or potato starch. Always read your label. Put some pepperoni on top. And there we go. Now we're off to our 425 degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes. It's now been 20 minutes and it's time to pull it out of there. Look at that. Is that gorgeous? Perfectly done. Nicely browned on top in a very nice golden brown here. Let's pull that off onto our wire rack to cool. I'm going to give that a good 5 to 10 minutes to cool before I serve it. And here's our final product, all cooled off and ready to serve. I'm just going to cut a nice, generous slice here. And I do believe it's about time for a taste. It smells just fantastic. Mmm. Well, first of all, of course it's delicious. It's a pizza. Let me tell you something. That crust, it's actually crunchy. It actually has a crisp kind of a crunch on the bottom. Oh, yeah. Now listen, it's not completely terribly dramatic or anything, but yeah, I mean, oh yeah. Confirmed. A bit of a crispy crust. That is really delicious. I really hope you'll try this recipe. I also hope that you will like, share, comment, and especially subscribe to my channel. Helps my channel grow. It also helps you locate my videos, especially if you click on that notifications bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a video, which is 3 or 4 times a week. Thanks for joining us here today at Tim Talks Cooking. We'll catch you next time.